300 hours. November 12, 2025. On the cold, dark waters of the Black Sea, a critical Russian military asset began its journey. The objective, China. The payment, a lifeline for a failing war. But an answer was coming, and it would arrive in 63 seconds. The target, the tanker's engine room. The result, a catastrophic detonation. The instrument of this modern warfare was an 18-foot ghost. It slipped through the waves 2 miles from the coast. Its designation, Magura V5. Its greatest weapon wasn't velocity, it was physics. A draft of only 1.3 feet. It hugged the surface, a shadow on the water. Its radar signature was negligible, less than a seabird's. For the Russian Navy's powerful defense systems scanning the sea, it was a phantom, a target that simply did not exist. But inside, a lethal surprise was waiting. 4 10-inch FPV drones, a swarm of killer bees. Each carried a 6.6-pound RPG warhead. This is the new face of global conflict. But first, it had to bypass the Savage gas rig, a 260-foot steel fortress manned by 60 elite Russian troops armed with Igla-S missiles and Kornet anti-tank weapons. At its apex, the Neva radar, Russia's all-seeing eye, capable of tracking 200 targets across a 28-mile radius, a key piece of their defense. To the tanker's crew, that fortress meant invincibility. 100 miles away, in an Odessa command bunker, a Ukrainian operator began a new kind of war analysis. On his console, the tanker wasn't a vessel. It was a grid coordinate, a $100 million problem demanding a solution from his army. The solution wasn't to destroy the fortress, it was to blind it. And tonight, 2 silent allies were in play. The first, a dense fog. A gray shroud cutting visibility to less than a mile. Their expensive optics were now useless. The second, the sea itself. 4-foot swells provided a shifting, chaotic cover. The ghost boat was now invisible to the naked eye. The stage was set, the trap was laid. A harsh lesson in modern warfare was about to be taught as the Magura closed to 0.6 miles. A hydraulic hiss cut the air as its cargo bay opened. 4 killer bees were revealed. This would not be a simultaneous launch. This was a symphony of destruction. First, FPV-1 lifted off. It didn't attack. It began a steady, climbing orbit. At 200 feet, it became a mobile comms relay, a temporary satellite ensuring its brothers maintained contact when the battle began. A crucial piece of defense technology. Next, FPVs 3 and 4 launched. They peeled off, flanking the target, circling low, like sharks waiting for blood in the water. Then, FPV-2 roared to life. This was the trigger for the entire military operation. 4 brushless motors screamed to 20,000 RPM, a piercing shriek that shattered the night. It shot directly at the Savage rig. Then, it activated its Mirage electronic warfare package. This was not simple jamming. This was far more insidious warfare. The Mirage didn't blind the Russian radar. It drove it insane. It recorded the Neva's own signal and broadcast it back dozens of times. With calculated delays and azimuth shifts, it painted a ghost army on the operator's screen, a classic tactic of modern weapons. Inside the control room, a single radar blip became a digital nightmare. 40, then 50 phantom signals erupted on the screen, all moving fast, all unpredictable. The Neva system was designed to track 200 physical targets. It was now facing a swarm that obeyed no laws of physics. This was a new kind of war. The processor choked, alarms blared. The operator screamed into his radio, a frantic military update that would soon become top military news. His voice cracked. "Too many targets! Cannot determine main axis of attack!" In the chaos, the Russian soldier did exactly what he was trained to do. He followed his military training. Engaged the most immediate threat. One signal pulsed brighter, moved faster, more erratically than the others. A prime target for any air force. It was FPV-2, the decoy. "Target locked!" he screamed. An Igla-S missile streaked from another soldier's shoulder, a flash of fire in the night. A streak of fire cuts the fog. The missile's infrared seeker locks onto the heat signature from the straining motors of FPV number 2. This was the exact scenario the Ukrainian planners anticipated. A brilliant fireball consumes the night sky. The Igla-S weapon finds its target. FPV number 2 and its Mirage package are vaporized. On the Russian radar, 49 ghost signals cease to exist. Silence floods the control room, broken by a cheer of relief. They believe the main assault is over. It is a fatal error in this modern war. They've expended a valuable missile from their defense systems, their focus broken by a technological illusion as they celebrated. High above FPV number 1, the signal relay continues its calm orbit, transmitting a perfect data stream from its advanced defense technology. FPV number 3. The first shark receives the attack signal. It ceases circling, pitches its nose down, and accelerates. A patient predator becomes a guided projectile. Its target? The single piece of equipment that makes the sea bass rig a fortress, the NEVA radar antenna. Through the drone's camera, the world tilts. The massive steel structure of the rig rushes up to meet the lens at an alarming rate. The operator sees the faint glow of lights on the lower decks and the dark rotating shape of the radar at its apex. He has one shot to blind Russia's all-seeing eye and turn a $100 million military asset into a heap of scrap metal. Back in the Russian control room, the celebration is shattered. A new alarm shrieks. A single high-speed contact has materialized from nowhere, already inside their minimum engagement range. Too fast. Contact, bearing 090, diving, the operator shouts, his voice edged with disbelief. How did it get so close? There is no time for war analysis. The 6.6-pound RPG warhead on FPV number 3 is a masterpiece of brutal physics. It is not just an explosion. It is a shaped charge designed to weaponize the Monroe effect. The charge does not detonate outwards. It focuses all its energy inward, collapsing a copper cone into a jet of molten metal screaming at over 26,000 feet per second. The drone impacts the base of the antenna. For a microsecond, there is nothing. Then, the shaped charge detonates. The molten jet punches through the antenna's protective housing as if it were paper, a testament to these modern weapons. It shreds the delicate high-frequency waveguide, the nerve that carries the radar signals. The blast surges down the conduit like lightning. It fries every sensitive electronic component in its path. To the soldiers on the rig, the explosion is deceptively small. A sharp crack, a flash of light, a shower of sparks. But in the control room, the effect is catastrophic. Every screen linked to the NEVA radar goes black. The reassuring sweep of the radar is gone, replaced by dead, silent static. Their world has gone dark. This is a critical military update. The troops are blind, and the second shark is about to attack. The rig's entire layered defense was built around that electronic eye. Now, it was gone. The silence in the control room is shattered by the commander's voice. He screams over the radio, his tone cracking. Visual acquisition! ZU-23, suppressing fire on anything that moves. The Army gunner on the open deck requires no second command. His mission is no longer precision, it is area denial. He stomps the foot pedal, and the twin-barreled 23mm cannon roars to savage life. 600 rounds a minute, 10 high-explosive shells every second. The foggy air becomes a lethal storm of tracers and shrapnel. For the FPV number 4 operator, his world is now a probability equation. His screen is a chaotic mess of sea spray. Muzzle flashes and incoming red tracers fill the view. He is no longer flying a mission profile. He is in a close-quarters dogfight, a new kind of naval warfare. Tracers high, evasive dive, he mutters, reacting on pure instinct. He shoves the stick forward. The drone plunges toward the waves. A burst of cannon fire shredded the air where the drone had been a half second ago. A clean miss. It jinked right, then dove again. Sharp, unpredictable movements. On the rig, the gunner cursed, his sights struggling to track the impossibly agile piece of defense technology. "It's too fast. I can't get a lead," he growled, anticipating the drone's next vector and firing a third, longer burst. Not where the drone was, but where he prayed it was going to be. This time, he was lucky. A single 23mm tracer round found its mark. It didn't vaporize the drone. Instead, it smashed into the carbon fiber arm of Rotor 3 with a sickening crack. On the operator's HUD, the screen flashed red. Warning: Rotor 3 RPM deviation, 14%. Warning: gyroscopic stability fault. The drone shuddered violently. It lurched sickeningly to the left, its flight computer frantically attempting to compensate. It was hit, it was wounded. On the rig, the Cornet missile operator, watching through his thermal sight, saw exactly what he was waiting for. The drone's neat, sharp heat signature had become a flickering, unstable blob, a predator's instinct. He was looking at a wounded animal. "Target is hit. He's crippled. I have a lock," he yelled. The reply was a single word: fire. The Ukrainian operator saw the flash in his feed. The brilliant white flare of the Cornet's launch. A death sentence, screaming towards him at Mach 1. He knew the math of this new warfare. His drone was damaged. Its agility was gone. It could not outrun it. It could not outturn it. He had less than 3 seconds. His mind raced, a rapid-fire war analysis, processing, telemetry, wind speed, the missile's trajectory. There was only one option left. Instead of trying to dodge, he did the one thing the missile's guidance logic could never anticipate in this global conflict. He cut power to all 4 motors. The drone stopped being an aircraft. It became a 30-pound rock falling out of the sky. The Cornet missile, its computer programmed to intercept a target on an aerodynamic trajectory, suffered a logic failure. Its target had simply vanished from its predicted flight path. It screamed through the exact point in space where the drone should have been. A perfect shot against a target that was no longer there. A miss. Its journey ended by slamming directly into the upper deck of the oil tanker. The explosion was catastrophic. The missile's tandem charge warhead, one of the modern weapons designed to defeat the reactive armor of an army battle tank, effortlessly vaporized the tanker's 20mm steel deck. But the real devastation was the follow-through. The missile's still-burning rocket motor. It buried itself deep within a network of high-pressure fuel lines, instantly igniting the crude oil. A geyser of fire and black smoke erupted into the night sky. The Russian troops, in their moment of perceived triumph, had become the instrument of their own spectacular disaster. Every soldier on that rig, every analyst watching this military update thought the mission was over. They were wrong. A deep, guttural roar, heavier and more menacing than any drone, suddenly cut through the sound of gunfire. It's the Magura. It was the finisher. The drone boat leaped forward. Its water jet propulsion pushed it to a blistering 42 knots. Its target was now perfectly illuminated by the fires its own navy had started. The tanker's engine room vulnerable and exposed. On the tanker's bridge, the crew's panicked shouts over the radio were drowned out by a new, horrifying realization as they watched. 200 pounds of bad news screaming towards them across the water. "It's the boat! The boat is attacking! Turn! Turn!" 5 seconds to impact. 4, 3. This is a collision of physics and brutal, overwhelming force, the very definition of modern warfare. First, the kinetic energy. 1.2 million foot-pounds, the equivalent of a freight train hitting a brick wall, which buckled the hull plating. Then, the 500-pound TNT warhead detonates. This generates a 1,500 psi shockwave that doesn't just punch a hole. It travels through the ship's steel frame like a seismic event. The shockwave hits instantly. Main fuel tanks rupture, their contents atomized into a volatile mist. This fuel-air mixture, orders of magnitude more powerful than the warhead alone, finds the raging fire. The night ignites. For seconds after impact, there is no sound. Only a blinding, white-hot flash that burns away the fog, turning night into day. Then, the concussion wave. A physical blow rolling across the water, slamming into the Seabosh rig. Windows shatter. Soldiers are thrown from their feet. A deafening, soul-shaking roar follows as 500,000 barrels of crude oil begin to burn. The tanker doesn't just explode, it disintegrates. The 1 to 500 psi shockwave that tore through its frame created a catastrophic structural failure. A textbook example for any war analysis. The 800-foot-long ship, under the immense stress of the blast, lifts out of the water. With a groan of tortured steel, it snaps in half. The two burning sections stand as monuments to a failed military mission. They begin their slow final descent to the floor of the Black Sea. In under 13 minutes, a plan executed by a handful of operators 100 miles away achieved 5 devastating kills. A $100 million asset and its cargo turned into worthless burning scrap. The immediate result is a pillar of fire and smoke, clawing thousands of feet into the sky. A signal visible from Crimea, the Sevastopol station, once the all-seeing eye of the Navy in the northwestern Black Sea, is now a blind post, an isolated outpost. Its most advanced surveillance capability is gone. Its defenders are left staring into the darkness, awaiting the next phase of modern warfare. The tanker and the 500,000 barrels of fuel it carried to fund a war are now a permanent artificial reef. And this is where the real damage begins. The loss of a single tanker from Russia's shadow fleet is a serious problem. Moscow now knows its primary method of sanctions busting, using old, uninsured tankers protected by static military outposts, is a failed strategy. The international maritime insurance market, already wary of these ghost ships, will now designate the entire area a war risk zone. Premiums will skyrocket. Russia's only alternative is to reroute its oil shipments through the already congested Arctic Passage, a journey that takes weeks longer and costs millions more per trip. This military update has economic consequences. Ukraine didn't just sink a ship. They jammed the gears of Moscow's shadow economy, cutting Black Sea oil exports by 5% overnight. While the Russian Ministry of Defense scrambles, releasing a statement about a technical malfunction, and a fire from improperly stored equipment, satellite imagery from NASA and Maxar, combined with dozens of videos from the coast, tells a different story. The myth of an impenetrable Black Sea fortress, a narrative built over years of military posturing, has been shattered in a single night. This is checkmate. The attack creates an impossible strategic dilemma for Moscow's army and navy. To prevent this from happening again, they must pull their most advanced and valuable Air Force defense systems. Assets like the Pantsir M must be moved from front lines in Donbass to protect static, low-value targets like oil rigs and ports. Every Pantsir system guarding a rig is one less protecting an armored column. This single, brilliant operation, a masterclass in defense technology, built on deception and executed with precision, has forced Russia to use its own strength to weaken itself. Now, the final math. On this masterpiece of asymmetric warfare, one repurposed boat costing around $250,000, plus 4 FPV drones worth almost nothing. These modern weapons just eliminated a $100 million tanker and crippled Russia's shadow fleet logistics. That is the kind of strategic win that changes the entire dynamic of a global conflict. So, which kill of the night was most impressive? The surgical strike by FPV number 3 that blinded the Neva radar? Or was it the Magura's final devastating ram that delivered the killing blow? The war analysis remains contested, a grim military news update from the front lines. The deployment of these advanced defense systems marks a turning point. The nature of war itself is changing, and this was only the beginning.